I'm Roy Lee Lindsay with the North Carolina Pork Council, and I want everyone to remember, bacon makes everything better.
Hey folks, David Glenn back here with the North Carolina Sports Network coming at you from the 2024 ACC Kickoff event. As always, brought to you by our friends at the North Carolina Pork Council. Our next guest was a high school superstar in the state of Georgia, a three-time state champion with Buford High School as the starting quarterback there, and he was also the three-time title game MVP. Ashton Daniels is now the starting quarterback for the Stanford Cardinal. He was that last year, remember, when they were in the Pac-12. Now they are members of the Atlantic Coast Conference. He has a really cool family background that we'll get to as well. Mom and dad were both athletes. Ashton Daniels, welcome to the David Glenn Show. Welcome to the North Carolina Sports Network. And welcome to the ACC, young man. How are you?
I'm good. How are you? Good?
I'm doing really well and excited to learn more about you as a great athlete and also your wonderful university. Before we even get into football, the Summer Olympic Games are almost here. And out of, I think there's like 1,000+ member universities in the NCAA organization at all divisions. Yep. Stanford University, your school, it's like 50+ athletes if you count former Cardinal athletes, current Cardinal athletes, and incoming Cardinal athletes. And I know if you add coaches, the number keeps going up. Do you have tunnel vision for football, or is there time in your world to appreciate that broader excellence that we just described?
Yeah, absolutely. I think there is a big, area of respect that I have for all these other sports that are at Stanford. As much as, I have free time, I try to go and watch these other teams compete. I love to watch them volleyball, both men's and women's basketball, lacrosse, everything, softball, baseball, everything that I can go and show my support to, I try to, because, these people are outstanding. They're just like us. And, there's a reason why they're so great. There's a reason why we have so many national champions. There's a reason why we have so many Olympians. And that's just because the culture and the excellence of Stanford is great, and everybody knows that. And, people want to come to Stanford to be great.
With that in mind, Buford, Georgia is roughly 2,500 miles from Palo Alto, California, where this young man goes to school. How would you summarize the list of things that motivated you? I don't know your scholarship offer list, but I'm sure you had a lot of opportunities closer to home. How many things were on that list that made you ultimately land on the decision, Stanford is the place for me?
Yeah, I think it's just one big thing, and that's the name Stanford. You go all around the world, and you mention Stanford, you ask people about Stanford, and every single person knows what Stanford is. It's just an outstanding university that's world known, best academics, best athletics. We win the Directors Cup, all that kind of stuff, so just the notability of Stanford, all the honors, the awards, the former alumni that played at Stanford, Christian McCaffrey, Andrew Luck, John Elway, all these big-time guys. I kind of wanted to model my career based off of those guys, especially Andrew Luck. He's always around the facility, all that kind of stuff. When I went out on my official visit, I got to meet him.
Cool.
So, it's just surrounding yourself with greatness and knowing that you're surrounding yourself with greatness every single day is one of the main reasons that I chose Stanford, because I know that it's going to help me excel both on and off the field.
This is Stanford quarterback Ashton Daniels joining us here on the North Carolina Sports Network. Now, you're young, you're athletic, you have all sorts of energy, but there's actual science behind things like jet lag, for example. So just give us an answer, just coming here for ACC kickoff, does your body feel that kind of thing? And do you guys have plans? Maybe the coaches worry about this more than the athletes, but are there plans for supersized planes where you can like sleep in some kind of chamber or whatever? Because if it impacts winning and losing, one thing I know is that athletic directors and coaches worry about it.
For sure, yeah. coming here, it was a little difficult to get some sleep last night just because, we're on a 3-hour time difference. And also, that it's a pretty long plane ride. But, we have experience with that. Last year, we went to Hawaii for the first game of the season. And then my freshman year, we traveled out to South Bend for the Notre Dame game. And I think it's more of, getting there a day early and being able to practice and kind of just work everything out, all the soreness in your muscles, make your body feel right, and also just like mentally locking in to the task ahead of you is what helped us during, those games that we had to travel a really long time. And I think, I expect nothing less from the guys this year.
Have we, representing the ACC, I've been covering this league longer than you've been alive, which might not surprise you because of the color of my hair. Have we gotten things as a group collectively right in terms of saying, for example, Cardinal instead of Cardinals,
Yes.
Palo Alto? You got a good vibe so far?
For sure, absolutely. As long as people are giving us the Cardinal with no S at the end, I'm good with this. So,
with that in mind, another phrase, you mentioned this worldwide recognition for Stanford. We do, for example, because a UVA or a UNC are often high in the Directors' Cup standings that you mentioned. For those who don't know, Ashton School, not every year, but feels like almost every year, finishes number one in the Directors' Cup. Sometimes they're second or third, but they're that good. A phrase that we know that I'm not sure I could define, maybe you can help us. We always hear the farm. Right? Now, I actually know some of the history, right? There were horses or animals roaming. Is the farm the whole Stanford University setting? Is it more specific to sports, or how does that work?
Yeah, it is the whole university setting. There used to be a farm, of course, where campus is now, so I think that's where it kind of got its nickname. And then, I feel like the sports teams have kind of just taken off and ran with it. Come to the farm has been the big thing, come make a difference at the farm. And then on top of that, our secondary mascot is our tree. So,
right.
That also kind of plays a part in it as well.
It is not unusual for college athletes to experience head coaching changes. I was lucky enough to interview the original head coach, David Shaw, an amazing guy that was at least part of your decision to originally play for the Cardinal. A lot of folks in the modern era especially, we all know about the rise of the transfer portal. Many of your teammates opted into the portal when there was a coaching change. What were the biggest factors motivating you to see through the Stanford part of your story?
Yeah, obviously I wanted to give whoever, I guess we didn't know who our coach was at the time, so I wanted to, give our coach a chance, come in. I wanted to, see what he was like, what he was about, and as soon as he walked in on that first day and introduced himself, I knew immediately that I wanted to stay. And also on top of that, it's not just who the coach is, it's the program as well. I knew that it was going to take a lot for me to leave Stanford, just because it's so amazing, both on and off the field, academics and athletics. And I knew that it would be pretty hard to just, give up a Stanford degree that easily and just give up being a part of, the Stanford football program that easily. So that was something I didn't want to do. So I was patient, waited it out, and I'm excited to where things are headed now.
The original Saltworks has become a legendary breakfast, brunch, and lunch place in Wilmington for both locals and out-of-town visitors over the last 50-plus years. Our good friend Bob Hubbard owns the place, but he's also the one cooking your food and often roaming the dining room to greet you with a smile and to make sure your visit is a great one. Bob has been running the show at this unique roadside diner for more than 20 years now, and he and his friendly, hardworking staff aim to treat you like one of their own. Try Bob's homemade omelets, or special recipe grits for breakfast, or his legendary cheeseburgers for lunch. The original Saltworks, your breakfast and lunch choice on Oleander Drive in Wilmington. This is Stanford quarterback Ashton Daniels. There was 1 week last year where his performance from the quarterback position was rated number one in the entire nation. I don't even remember which game. You probably remember which game it was. Can you tell me?
Colorado.
Okay. Yeah. Deion Sanders and that whole family were the victims of the guy to my right. He truly was rated, I think it was Pro Football Focus and a bunch of others, made him the quarterback of the week nationally. I have heard you've gotten into golf. Now, is that playing a lot of golf? Do you like watch the majors? Are you that into golf?
Yeah.
And as a Georgia guy, did you grow up at least following the Masters or other things? Tell us about this evolution beyond football.
Yeah, absolutely. I think after my junior season in high school, when I committed to Stanford, of course, Tiger Woods is the number one athlete that everybody knows about. My friends kind of had started getting into golf at the time. I wasn't too big into it, but then I started to play, and I just found a love for the game. All of my best friends back at Stanford play, and we try to get out there and play as much as possible. On the weekends, when there's no football or other sports going on, we'll always, turn the tournaments on, especially all the majors. Just watched the Open that finished up last week. So, golf is amazing, and I found a pretty big love for it during my off time.
Have you been to the Masters in Augusta, Georgia, not too crazy far from Beaufort, Georgia?
I haven't. I wish so. My parents aren't too big into golf, so, never really had the opportunity to go down there. But, now that...
Someday.
Yeah, someday. Now that I have a lot of connections, in the golf world and all that kind of stuff, hopefully I'll be making a trip down there soon.
You're a hard-to-dislike guy, but you're going to make me dislike you with your answer to this next question. So when I was your age, I played baseball. Okay. And you would know, even as a new-to-golf guy, it is not good to have a baseball swing in your golf swing. So it's still limiting me in my 50s. You're going to tell me that as a great athlete, you already shoot good numbers already, don't you?
I'm doing better. I'm getting better. So this summer, my goal is always to break 90.
Okay.
And I did that a couple times. Shot 87, 89 cool. A couple times. But I'm typically like a 90 on the dot, okay. Low 90s guy. So, I've only really been playing since senior year of high school, and like you mentioned, I grew up playing baseball, so I kind of had that baseball swing. I also played lacrosse from like fifth grade to up until junior year, so kind of have that swing motion in it as well. But I've come to find my swing a little bit, and it's starting to get a lot more fun.
I feel better about that answer because I'm a high 80s, low 90s golfer after trying a conversion. You have many more years to grow your game, so I don't think you're going to stay there. Let's brag about mom and dad a little bit. Mom played volleyball at Georgia. Dad played football at Georgia. Just give us a sense of how they have shaped you as a young man. But also, at some age, they probably started the ball rolling when it came to sports.
Yeah, they've always been there to encourage me in every single thing that I do. They're my safety blanket. They support me like no other. They sacrifice so many things for me, and I couldn't be more grateful for them. But they know what it's like to be successful D1 athletes, and they continue to pour that knowledge into me every single day. And I think that really, really helps me out, helps me to be a better person, not only on the field, but off the field as well. Being able to manage school and sports at the same time, and they mean the world to me. They continue to amaze me with everything they do, and they're amazing. So.
Are you allowed to have some rooting interest for the Georgia Bulldogs when you're not rooting for the Stanford Cardinal? Because it's one thing to have a mom and dad who both went to a school. Oh, yeah. They both wore the colors and were athletes for the Bulldogs.
Yeah, I always, grew up a diehard Georgia fan. Okay. And always have cheered for Georgia no matter what. Although I'm out here at Stanford, if they're in the college football playoffs or the national championship, I always have a little piece of me that's rooting for them. But, it's a great program. My dad played with Kirby Smart, and all these notable guys. So, it's been amazing to watch them grow on, but also, coming out here and setting my own path and my own journey has been extremely important for me.
You mentioned your new coach, and we're still getting to know him a little bit, Troy Taylor. All I know is that he had some really fun-looking offenses at the FCS level. Prior to last year was Coach Taylor's first year with the Stanford Cardinal, first year with our guest Ashton Daniels. I imagine if you're the QB, it doesn't hurt. I don't know if you can find video. Was it Sacramento State where he was? Did you start digging into Sacramento State video and say, absolutely. What's up with this?
Yeah, absolutely. So, he was hired as our head coach. We heard the news, and, before we could even sit down for offensive meetings. I was in there. All of the Sacramento State offense, was linked into our film accounts. So, diving into their offense and what they did, all their explosives, the trick plays, all the cool kind of stuff that Coach Taylor, has come up with in the past, has been amazing. I also watched his last game at Sacramento State against Cardinal, which was an absolute shootout, and it was like 3 a.m. my time because I was on the East Coast. But just watching that game, I knew I was going to fall in love with his offense, and I knew it was going to be a lot of fun playing for him.
You have the cool Stanford pin. I don't know if you'd get in trouble for this, but there's a lot of Carolina blue theme to your overall outfit. You are looking dapper, but I wonder, as we, again, like 2,500 miles away, we know what Stanford Cal is. Right. It's not like we're on a different planet.
Right.
Do you, growing up in Beaufort, Georgia, may impact this, but did you have a sense of the Atlantic Coast Conference? Do you have a sense of, Duke, Carolina in basketball and the other such things that make our part of the college sports world famous the way Cal, Stanford, and other things makes you guys famous?
Yeah, absolutely. Being from Georgia, the two main conferences I grew up watching were the SEC and the ACC. So, I'm extremely familiar with all of the rivalries in both conferences. I'm extremely familiar, with the traditions and the culture of the ACC, the notability of all these amazing teams, and we're, excited to finally be in a new conference, play some new faces, and there's going to be a lot of new challenges for us that are on the table, and we're excited for it.
As we let you go, besides the brilliant, well-thought-out questions that you've received from us today, have you gotten some really good ones, some creative ones in the rest of your car wash travels here?
Yeah, I have. It's been cool, having this opportunity, as a junior, coming here and being exposed to the media for the first time and answering all these questions. I think it's really cool because it not only allows me to talk about me, but it allows me to talk about my teammates as well. I think one of the coolest questions I got today was someone asking me an extremely underrated player on our team that I think is going to have a breakout season. And, that allows me to, shout our guys out.
So go ahead.
It was Zach Rowell, defensive lineman for us, number 97.
That is cool.
Yeah, he's going to have an outstanding season. And, I think it's great that they give us the ability to shout our teammates out, kind of get them a little bit of media exposure, so people are looking out for them this season.
Did we get brownie points for you from Mom and Dad in case they check out this video later?
100%. I know that they're probably watching right now. They made the drive up.
Oh, cool.
And, they hung out with me last night, saw me this morning, and then, made the drive back to Georgia. So they're probably watching right now as they're on the way back. So.
Last thing for our Stanford quarterback, Ashton Daniels, I saw on one of your social media accounts, and correct me if I get the terminology wrong, the summer scamper patient heroes. So you and I know a lot of your teammates invest in the community, right. And you were trying to publicize this event. Mm-hmm. Tell us what that was about and why it's important to you to use your platform beyond obviously being a great athlete.
Yeah, absolutely. So Lifetime Cardinal, who set this opportunity up for us, is our NIL collective at Stanford, and they do an outstanding job, giving us these outreach opportunities as well as community service opportunities to go out and support all of these people that support us and that look up to us. And one of the big things around Stanford is our children's hospital, and that's what the summer scamper was about. They love watching us, and you can tell when we go and see them and show love to them, it their face lights up, and it's just amazing to see that we're making an impact on these young kids' lives. And me having the platform that I have, I'm going to do everything that I can to support and raise awareness for these kinds of things.
As we let you go, humble us by telling us the names of some of the classes that you have at Stanford that you wouldn't wish on your worst enemy. What's your major for start?
So I'm doing STS, which is Science, Technology, and Society, with concentration in innovation and organization.
I might survive the society part of that. But actually, you seem versatile enough that if, depending on where football and athlete stuff goes, you could be a broadcaster in sports but you said science and technology, so
Right.
you probably have some classes that would make our heads hurt.
Yeah, I mean, I always have, that love for communication and media. That's also a little bit of a part of my major, and that a goal of mine is always to be a broadcaster. Whether it be
cool.
ESPN, ACC, and anything. Just the ability to go and watch these games as well as talk about it. To millions of people at home and being on TV and all that kind of stuff. I really look up to the people that do that, and that's something that I would love to do in my future.
That's cool. Well, take it from somebody who's done it for 36 years. You're off to a good start.
Thank you. I appreciate it.
And the Stanford degree isn't going to hurt. His name is Ashton Daniels. Watch him this fall for the Stanford Cardinal. Thanks for joining us on the North Carolina Sports Network.
Absolutely. Thank you guys so much.